Thank you for your introduction this morning and such a topic in 12 minutes. It's quite a challenge, but I will go with the thank you and try to commit to the time that we have been given. Let me start with a short introduction with 3 points. And I know that when we are in such a gathering with the United Nations, sometimes we speak about nice words. But my point this morning, it's not only to speak about the reality of the world, because we are dealing with radicalization and radicalism, that we need to speak about peace. Peace is an ideal, and it's a very demanding one. And my point here is not to speak about an ideal in a dreaming way, but with commitment, what we have to do, and in which we also, when it comes to pluralistic society, we have to start by being self-critical. All of us. That's the first intellectual disposition that we need to have, is how do we deal with our own religious tradition, with our own self, and then we speak about peace. Peace that we speak for others and that self-criticism when it comes to ourselves is the wrong starting point. Having said that, now 3 main points: that we live today, our world is a pluralistic world, and willing it or not, we can try to dream of the past as the old societies that we have, homogeneous in a cultural way or in a religious way. That's over. You come to the West, you come to all the countries now, in Africa, in India, in the South, as well as in the North. We are dealing with pluralistic societies, and that's a fact. You can play with words, you cannot play with reality. Now, when we are dealing with this, we have to come with, what do we do with this when we are dealing with pluralism? And when we speak about peace among religions, it means mutual respect. And mutual respect has some conditions. Peace is an ideal with very demanding conditions. And let us come to this when it's our discussion. The first condition that we need to get, and I'm not sure we will agree on words, I'm not sure that we agree on feelings here, is that we are talking about unity of humanity. Unity of humanity means if you are an Arab, if you are an African, if you are an Asian, if you are an American, if you are a Canadian, or if you are a European, as to the human dignity, you have the same human dignity. Meaning that when you have so many people now dying from Ebola, and then we have this feeling that there is something which is not right in the way the northern people are easily cured, while the people from Africa are put in a situation where there is a sense of injustice, you are not going to get peace out of this status. We have to talk about human dignity, equal dignity for all. When it comes to sickness, but when it comes to wars, when it comes to how many people are being killed in southern countries, and we come with, oh, let us speak about northern people killed. Equality is the starting point of peace, unity of humanity. And I think that this is something where the religious voices should come together to make it clear that we are not going to accept implicitly a kind of hierarchy between people when it comes to origins, religions, and colors. That's the starting point that we need to get, and I would like more religious voices being clear on this, being clear on such principles. So equal dignity, unity of humanity, justice is a condition of peace, and mutual respect means that when it comes to mutual respect, and respect is that in any society there are 2 principles that are indisputable when we speak about peace. The first one is freedom of conscience. Whatever is the status within the society, no one has the right to impose onto you anything which has to do with your conscience. So this is also important, and this is why we have to be self-critical. And especially I can speak from an Islamic viewpoint. In some situations, in some Muslim majority countries, that's not going right. The way we are dealing with this freedom of conscience is wrong. And if we want to improve the situation, in the name of peace, we have to be intellectually demanding with the status of people, for example, who want to change their religion. We have within the Islamic tradition a majority trend saying it's not possible. We have another trend saying it's possible, and not against Islam, but in the name of Islam. But if you speak about freedom of religion, you need to talk about this. This is from a viewpoint which is important from an Islamic perspective. But in every society, And in the West today, we also have to come with the second dimension, and it's freedom of worship. Freedom of worship is, it's not for you to tell the people the way they have to dress, the way they have to pray, and the way they have to eat. Freedom of worship means, as long as you abide by the law of the country, you should be free to worship the way you want, you should be free to pray the way you want, and you should be free to dress the way you want. Meaning that sometimes in the north we might have, and I am happy that we have the president of Ecuador that is giving a lecture right now in these premises, that we have sometimes to look at what is happening in India, what is happening in Africa, and what is happening in some southern countries that are teaching us the way we deal with inclusiveness. That if you go to Bolivia, you may be critical of some political positions, but when you have by law the fact that inclusiveness means you have the right to pray and to deal with your principles, and you have a diversity of culture, by law it's acknowledged, we might have to think about it in the West instead of teaching the world the way we deal with pluralism. We might have to learn from others the way they have dealt with pluralism, and even sometimes in Western Europe with the way they dealt with in Eastern Europe. Sometimes we have in the long history, and don't take the example of Yugoslavia and the former Yugoslavia, behind the scene we have so many diversity and pluralism that were here beyond what happened in the recent history. So I would say that when it comes to peace and when it comes to, we need to go for something which is this mutual respect and inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means that we look at our society, and this morning I heard this concept, and I wrote this in a book, The Quest for Meaning, what I was talking about developing a philosophy of pluralism, the new we. And the new we, it's not only abide by the law. It's to get it right, that what is important now, it's not only to talk about within the nation state, about the law within the state, it's the narrative within the nation. It's you belong to the country. We belong to the same destiny. We are building these countries together. It's true in India, it's true in southern countries, and it's true in the West. And when sometimes I'm presenting myself, yes, I'm coming from Egypt, but I'm a Swiss citizen, and I am a European. And sometimes when I talk to my fellow citizens, they have this impression that I am a foreign citizen. I said that concept is not legal. It doesn't exist. So, but the point is not here. It's not legal, but the problem is that it's not with the law that we have the problem. It's with the narrative. You may have the same passport. I don't feel that you are within my nation, within the same narrative. This is why, with religions, we need to make it clear, and this is why I keep on repeating, Islam is a Western religion. Willing it or not, that's the fact. That's now, it's an American religion, a European religion, and Buddhism and Hinduism and Judaism and Christianity, this is where we come together. You want to build peace? Start with the right principles. Don't try to select who is yours and who is not yours. So this I have only 12 minutes, so don't clap. Just the less you clap, the more time I have. So thank you before the last thank you. So I would say that if we have to define with all these principles at the beginning, if you have to come to some of the definition of what we are talking about when it comes to freedom of religion. And I would say for everyone within his or her religion, if you decide to have one, if you decide not to have one, and this is why in anything today, when we come to, this platform of religions, I'm always saying in our civil societies, you also need to have people who are atheists. You also have to have people who are secular in a way they are not dealing with religion. Why? Because sometimes we have to come together and to understand that people with no faith are producing ethics, values that we need to have within our society. We are all, in a way, in minority in our societies. There is no one who can come and claim, I have the monopoly of values within the society. So this dialogue should also be with people saying, as long as you respect my religion, you are part of the discussion. So it's based on mutual respect, as I said. But freedom of religion means that we all have the right to learn our religion. So we need to have this access to learning our religion. We also have something which is important. I learn my religion, but I also can witness, be a witness of my religion and express it. This is also something which has to do with peace among religions. To share it's also important, to have a dialogue, to to speak about my values and to listen from others. And this is why this silence around religions, thinking that by being silent we are going to avoid wars, that's the first step to get wars, because silence is not helping learning, understanding, and sharing. And the last is also, as I said, changing. So this is why I would say that it's a very demanding process to learn, to express, to share, and if you want, to change. These are fundamental values and principles that we have to take and to promote. Having said that now, and I know that very often in such a gathering in the United Nations, this is where we all have to be self-critical, as I told you, and sometimes you have to go straight to the point, that we have problems. You were talking about very nice examples of Nobel Prizes that Amala and saying that's great. I think it's great. I have some doubt about some other prizes that you gave to some people, but that's another story. So you may share this with me. But the point here is also to be able to look at what is happening around the world and what is happening in Africa and some countries. What is happening today involving many countries that we have when it comes to freedom of expression. It could be in Pakistan, it could be in Afghanistan, it could be in Nigeria, it could be in so many countries. It could be in the United States, it could be in European countries, it could be in Germany, it could be in France, it could be here in Switzerland. We all have to be self-critical. As a Swiss citizen, I would like us to improve. It could be also in Israel. It could be everywhere when it comes to the freedom of expression and equality between citizens. There is no way to accept that because you are from one religion, you have more rights than others everywhere. So let us not be selective and not be 1 minute? No. Not be selective and not try to avoid the discussion. Self-demanding. So that's fine. I had my conclusion, but my conclusion will be this one. Thank you.